Well, I have a confession to make. And my confession is that I actually completed this episode 2 or 3 days ago. I completed the episode and then I deleted it. And there is a good reason why I deleted it. The reason was because I felt that I sounded quite bitter on this particular episode. And I sounded bitter because I have never been very high on soulmates. And there are a few reasons for this. When I was younger, my mother had taken me to a psychic fair and she paid for a psychic to do a reading for me. Well, during this reading, among other things, the psychic had told me that in this lifetime, a decision had been made, I think, between myself and my soulmate not to meet this time around, that I was not going to meet my soulmate. And this really, truly hurt me at the time. I guess I'd always dreamed of meeting someone that was that special person that I would have that deep connection with. And this person who was psychic was telling me, no, you're not going to meet this person. And I was what, maybe 13, 14 years old? So this had a huge impact on me. So that was number one. That was one of the first reasons why I wasn't positive on soulmates. The next is because I had a more recent experience with someone that I met and someone that I felt that I had an instant connection with. I mean, have you ever just met somebody and you just knew? Even though you've just met them, it's as if you have known them your entire life. It is a connection that goes beyond words. This is what I felt when I shook this person's hand. I felt all these feelings. I felt this deep connection just from touching her hand. But I have to tell you that after a few months, it was very, very obvious to me that this wasn't going to become anything but a very casual friendship. And one of the reasons for that is because she was, number one, in a very solid relationship, at least looking at it from the outside. She had been with this particular individual for a very long time. But more importantly, I honestly don't think and don't believe that she had that same sense of just knowing that we had a deeper connection. And it's interesting, you may ask the question, and I think I would ask this question too if I were listening to this. Well, maybe it was just in your head and maybe you just thought, you had a crush on her, you had this feeling and she just did not reciprocate. And it's fine for you to think that, but what I'm going to express to you, there are going to be a few things I'm going to tell you. Number one, I'd never in my life, ever in all my years of being on this planet, felt that connection in that way with someone that I had just met. So that was the first thing with this. But I think the second thing came later on because I was asking that same question. I was thinking, am I crazy? Is this all in my head? Am I just seeing someone who is attractive and I'm simply attracted to her? And so I'm reading this incorrectly. It was interesting because, well, for those of you, of course, that have been following this channel, you know that I have a very deep connection with my guides, or those around me, as I like to call them. And of course, immediately I started questioning this, and I started kind of presenting it to them and saying, look, I kind of want to know about this. I want to know if I'm going crazy. Do I really have a connection with this person? Is there something there with this person? And I was asking this every day that I had any kind of contact with this individual. I would ask my guides, you know, I want you to show me, will you show me what this connection is all about? And it's funny, my guides mostly communicate to me with feelings. They can also communicate with me in words, or at least what I perceive to be words, but most of the time it's feelings. And I'll always remember that feeling I got when I thought about this. And the feeling I got was, are you really sure this is coming from them? My guides, those around me, are saying, are you really sure you want to know about this? Because we can show this to you, but you may not like it. And I kept thinking, no, I really want to see this. I really want to know. I want to know if I'm crazy or not. And kind of pausing here and giving you a bit of advice, those of you who are leaving your body or who are looking to leave your body, you will have access to many, many things, and you will be able to explore many, many things. But what I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to try and caution you and give you some advice, because make sure that if you want to know the answer to something, make sure you really want to know the answer to it, because it's not always going to be pleasant. It's not always going to be this wonderful thing that's going to give you a great feeling. And it may not always completely answer your question. In fact, you may end up with more questions than answers even after you've seen it. Anyway, I kept pushing, and finally they showed me, and it ended up being nothing like I thought it was going to be, as always, because nothing ever is like I think it's going to be. It ended up, at least from my perception, and without going too into detail with this, it ended up that me and this being had a very, very strong friendship before, in another life, in another existence. And here I was thinking it was going to be like a movie. We were, I was the man, she was the woman, and over history we'd been together and in different time periods. And it wasn't like that at all. We were apparently male friends, both of us. She was a man, I was a man, and that being was like my brother. Apparently, that being that I had such a deep connection with had decided to come here with a different focus than mine, and with a focus that didn't include knowing, I guess, the things that I know and what I'm able to share with you today. All the stuff with my spirituality and all the things that happened to me, my astral projection, all those things. This person didn't have that same focus. And so we went our separate ways. And I think that that truly did hurt me. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you. And again, one of the reasons why I deleted the other episode was because I felt like I was really, really just talking about that, and there was so much bitterness there. But I don't want this episode to be that way with you. I want you to know that the whole soulmate thing to me, though I've had a lot of challenges with it, I would say deep down inside, I still believe that it is a beautiful thing to have a connection with someone. And what I think I want to do right now is I want to really ask that you take that person, whoever it is. I don't know who you're with presently right now. And I don't know if you feel that this person is a soulmate or not, or if you have some sort of connection with them that way. Personally, I would just truly hope that you do, because there's something so beautiful about having that. But what I'd ask you to do right now is to look at that person in the eyes and just tell them that you love them, and hold them and breathe them in, and just be in the moment with them. I think what happens so much in relationships is we get so caught up in all the other things that are happening with life. And I don't know if you're married, with paying the bills and, taking care of the kids and the arguments and things like that, that we don't really think about how special it is to have a connection with another being. The fact that you found that person out of all the people in the world, out of everybody, you chose each other. And I guess I speak from a point of someone who is without somebody like that in my life. And I think to myself, how beautiful a thing that must be. Now, maybe some of you are thinking, man, perhaps you just need to be in a relationship for a while and see what it's like and see all the other things that go with it. But call me a sappy, romantic kind of person. I believe that having that connection is such a special thing. And not just for Valentine's Day, which is coming up. And this is one of the reasons why I decided to do this episode, was because of Valentine's Day. I think that two people, when they're together, should take a moment at times. I mean, obviously you can't do this every second of every day because you have to live your lives. But just to be in the moment with each other, to enjoy each other, and to never forget that supposedly this whole relationship thing is supposed to be fun. You're supposed to have a good time with one another. And that's why you're together. So just be in the moment with one another. Anyway, that was another thing I wanted to put in. Because again, I wanted to kind of balance out the other stuff and the sort of challenges that I've had. But for the end of this episode, I'd like to read a poem that I wrote at that time for this very special being that I have never read to anyone. So this is the poem. The moment I shook your hand, I knew I wanted to look endlessly into your eyes. Eyes so fierce that only storms could exist inside them. Storms that rage oceans and snap trees. Storms that conjure beautiful lightning and sing in cracks of thunder. But there is a calm in the blinding winds, a calm in your eyes, your smile a blazing sun. I feel its warmth against my skin, but I dare not gaze into it. Such a beautiful thing, I fear, could scorch the living soul inside me. Anyway, that's the end of the poem. Thank you so much for coming on another journey with me. And until next time, take care.